Yeah, it's on live, sir. Add presentation to the stage.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. Is it okay?
Not still, sir. So add presentation, sir, to the stage. Yes, sir.
No?
Yes, sir, it's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, go ahead, sir.
Verify how many are there.
So go ahead, sir. Go with the presentation, sir.
Okay, okay. Right. Thank you very much, Upendra. And once again, thank you. Thank Upendra sir for giving me the opportunity here. And as I've already told you that this is the presentation for MBA final year students on their paper, optional paper that's on managing self and leading others. We have started these master classes for the last 2 weeks, and this is the third master class. And this is on introduction to assertiveness. And what is that assertiveness? Why assertiveness counts a lot in for managerial excellence. So I also invite all other friends who are on YouTube live on my request. Please again bear it in mind that this is the presentation focused to MBA final year students. So let's examine what is the assertiveness as a matter of fact. So assertiveness is the ability to express thoughts, feelings, and beliefs in an open and honest and respectful way. The reason being that unless you have a communicative effectiveness clearly to put forth your thoughts and feelings about a point that will be discussed, you are not accepted. But again, this is the process of presenting your thoughts, expressing your thoughts and feelings and beliefs, of course, with an open mindset. And you should also be honest in your effort to put forth your point of view. And it should be put in a respectful way. Please note that it's a civilized conversations generally going on, and you are not supposed to cut down the conversations and bounce on others to put before your point of view. So that's not assertiveness, as a matter of fact. So if your assertiveness means here to clearly express your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, I mean, as open as possible, and you must be honest in presenting your thoughts, and also you should please consider that it should be done in a very respectful way. It's a through discussions and all that. So, in today's management parallels, there the interactions are quite common between people and all, and of course there are a large scale gatherings also are there. For example, like meetings, one-to-one meetings. Maybe there are one-to-many meetings will be there, and there's a lot that can be talked about on professional relationships. You're not supposed to tarnish your professional relationships, and you should be so sober in presenting your points of view and all that, because you need to take decisions, and you're at the focus because you say assuming that you're a manager or a responsible person in the process. So assertiveness is very crucial for managing these professional relationships and decision making, not cutting at the root of the arguments or at the cost of the relationships. So assertiveness is what you do. It's not what you do, like shouting on others and all that in the name of assertiveness. No, it is who you are, how polished you are, how gentle you are, how civilized you are in steering the meetings, and also in putting forth your points of view as gently as possible. Please know that you need to respect relationships. So it is in this context we need to understand the importance of assertiveness in business and also in personal life. In personal life, what we can say, you are honored. You are definitely honored if you are respectful in the conversations. And you are to be noted in business scenarios when you give importance to clearly understand the assertiveness process, putting before put, putting forth your thoughts and feelings in a respectful way, and at the same time, honoring congenial atmosphere and relationships. As a matter of fact, now let us examine why assertiveness matters. Earlier also I was talking to you here that some time back we have seen an advertisement in a reputed news daily newspaper that in a recruitment columns of the Hindu once said one company has advertised. This advertisement is focused to MBAs, Masters in Business Administration. The advertisement reads like this. It's a very provocative headline. The headline reads, "We don't want MBAs. We want people of common sense. We don't want bandwagon of yes men. We want people who can say no." This is a powerful headline in recruitment columns. If you decode the meaning of this, is that what can you decode? Please note that we don't want a bandwagon of yes men, meaning that you must be in a position to say no. Saying no not at the cost of something, not to show off your ability to put forth your point, but you have to say no with a valid point in your pocket, in the sense that you have a valid point to share, and that's why you can negate the point of view of the other person. So that's what assertiveness is all about. So then, why assertiveness matters here? Yes, number one is it enhances leadership qualities. Does not, I need not have to overamplify this statement. And it also strengthens negotiation skills. Yes, in case of negotiations like bargaining, hard bargaining takes place in organizations. It can be between the supplier and your what you call marketing team, or your marketing team versus the customer group, or whatever. So when you talk in terms of negotiations, as a matter of fact, you should have the skill of handling negotiations. So you need to have a certain skill to strengthen your negotiation skills, as a matter of fact. And it also helps in conflict resolution. So when you sit across the table, when there is a conflict arising scenarios, and you are supposed to help solve the scenario, set the things straight. So your assertiveness counts a lot because you are the regulator there, and the regulation does not mean again bouncing on others and show rule game and all that. But you should be very clear on making the point with advantages clearly spoken out. So that's why it helps in conflict resolution, and it improves decision making and communication at work. Definitely, because everybody looks at you because you are the person at the center, and you are the manager or some superior officer who is in charge of the particular scenario. So naturally, people will be looking at you for all practical purposes. So hence, a proven assertiveness skill improves decision making and communication at work. So let us examine this table: assertiveness versus other communication styles, as a matter of fact. Because in communication setting, when we talk about communication styles, there is some validity in comparing different communication styles. Look at this table. I think you're visualizing. I mean, it is clearly visible for all of you. Look at this. Communication styles can be categorically be classified into four types as such. Passive communication style. The name implies passive means touch me not attitude, as a matter of fact. You don't speak out clearly and all that. Aggressive is exactly opposite of passive. Instead of putting before the facts, figures logically, you try to bounce on others, show aggressive behavior. Passive aggressive is a mixture of passivity and aggressiveness, as a matter of fact. And fourth one is assertive. Of all these four, you don't you think that assertive behavior counts a lot? Yes, let's examine the characteristics of each communication style that can help us to understand why assertiveness is to be the first important strategy to be mastered. In passive communication style, the characteristics of this passive communication style, I mean, the person who actually accept this style of functioning avoids confrontation because you're not communicative. You don't want to say anything about it, and you want to avoid confrontation. That's not a straight walk. No, because in every scenarios you need to go take arguments and counter arguments for the purposes of fruitful decision making. As a matter of fact, so avoiding confrontation is the not so good characteristic, and at the same time, the passive communicator feels very unworthy. He feels unworthy about the situation and all that. There is no need to take attention and all, no need to be attentive on this and all that. Is the viewpoint of the passive communicator. So passive communication style is not that good enough because the effect of this style of functioning here is that it builds resentment because people are not in a position to understand what you are saying and what you want to say and what you don't want to say and all that are not clear. So the relationships definitely would be very confusing state of affairs. Reason being that it builds resentment. No, he is not talking. No, he is not involving himself. Not favoring this, that, and all. What comes very confused state of affairs. And all those people who actually go with this passive style of communication lack respect from others because you're not speaking anything. You're not speaking absolutely what is necessary. Let's look at the second style and the characteristics. Aggressive communication style characteristics include forces ideas onto others. That means I have already told you it's a bouncing on others. That means he compels others to accept. He forces ideas on others. Now that's not accepted, and he actually dismisses others' feelings. A person who is aggressive on a communications table will dismiss others' feelings, others' ideas, and all that. So, what is the net effect? The effect on relationships is definitely clear hostility, creates hostility. Hostility means hatredness. Hatredness is disbelief completely. Trust, very fragile. So it damages the relationships because nobody believes you and nobody will be in a position to present their ideas constructively because you bounce on others with aggression and you dismiss others' feelings and all. That is not accepted. So that's what we call aggressive. Let's look at the mixture, the passive aggressive here. So the characteristics of this passive aggressive is indirectly express frustration because he is in a helpless scenario because he said to be very passive, and sometimes he uses sarcasm or procrastination. That means he puts the conflict under the carpet. It doesn't even uh, interested to open up the discussion. So he postpones conveniently this conflicting scenario to future dates. So this is also not good enough because the effect of this style of behavior, communication style, means it leads to confusion because whether you resolve the conflict or not, whether you open up the discussion or not, nobody knows. And always you express frustration on discussions, as a matter of fact. And you use sarcasm instead of fact and figure. Using sarcasm is an indirectly criticizing the people, team of people with you. That's again, very difficult scenario, and it erodes trust and respect. Nobody will respect you. Nobody will trust you, mind it. So this is passive aggressive style of communication. And the fourth one, which is desirable for all managers at the given setting to handle conflict scenarios and discussions, deliberations, and all that. So this communication style is assertive. That means he owns and clear communication, honest, very honest. He owns the problems and takes others into respect. And he is honest in presenting clear communication, very, very clear communication, whatever it is. And he respects himself and also others. He believes that others will have some valid points for us to discuss, and as such, he respects others' feelings and all. So, this is the idealist approach of communication style, and the effects on relationships are always positive. This style fosters healthy relationships and it enhances collaboration. Finally, very, very interesting thing. So, are you interested to be very receptive from next day onwards? Think of it. We already talked about. This is how it goes. If you graphically present here, on the one side, you find a low openness communication to high openness communication on x-axis, and on y-axis we talk about consideration for others. There will be high consideration for others and low consideration for others. If you see here, high consideration for others and high openness of communication, which is a green colored window, where it talks about assertive. Coming down here, there is a low openness of communication and low openness. Though it is high openness of communication, there is low consideration for others. It is passive. That's the darker brown aspect of it. Coming to red color zone as such, you have, of course, you may have low assertiveness and low openness of communication. This is passive aggressive. And coming on to the orange lane, first one is aggressive as such. Aggressive is you don't have openness of communication, and you don't have openness. Support of derived support from others, as a matter of fact. So what happens here is you'll be aggressive, bouncing on others. The idealist approach, as you say, that you should have high openness in communication and high consideration for others, colleagues as such, so you can be very assertive in problem solving approach. Let us examine some of the key assertive behaviors and key traits which are very well respected. Number one is clear and respectful communication. The first important point is that in assertiveness is that you should clearly understand what the problems is all about. You should have the clear idea of what is happening, and then you should come out with respectful communication. You respect yourself and respect others' points of view as such. Confidence without arrogance. Yes, it is. Arrogance means bouncing on others, disagreement with others, and asking them to shut their mouths. It's also called game of jipping one's mouth. You know what is meant by jipping the mouth? Interestingly, you play a strategy of jipping the mouth. That means indirectly you'll be advising others not to open their mouths. With your arrogance, nobody else will be in a position to open their mouths and all that. So you lack confidence there. So one of the important key traits for assertive behavior is to administer and show and demonstrate confidence without arrogance. The another important trait you have to have an active listening, because that is very, very proactive approach, as a matter of fact. Because in problem solving approaches, as we've already said many a time, that 90% of communication, 80 to 90% of communication is an oral communication, verbal communication, as a matter of fact, in meetings and all that. When civilized bipartite confrontations, always through meetings, and unless you have an active listening trait, you're gone. Because what else you would like to decide, unless otherwise you have an active listening as such. Then you should be open to feedback. You should always be open person, because people will be saying this, that, and all. Let them present their own logical points of view. So, are you for open feedback? Give for feedback and also solicit feedback. You should never stop feedback, as a matter of fact. And sometimes it can be directly or indirect feedback comes in. So you just be open to feedback so that you can work it works miracles with for you in the problem solving approaches, as a matter of fact. Then, what are the benefits of assertiveness in the workplace? What are the professional benefits? Because everybody, at the end of the day, we say all are professionals, as a matter of fact. All are interested to help solve the scenarios, and all are executives, managerial cadre, and the presence of mind is very much necessary, as a matter of fact. So let's say first one, it enhances
Many.
leadership presence. Absolutely, very important. It enhances leadership presence. See, if you are stable enough, cool, calm, composed behavior is
Yes.
administered, confidence is administered, definitely it enhances your leadership presence. People will be there to recognize your
Okay.
presence there.
Remaining balanced in all, huh? Mhm.
Second one is that boosts collaboration and teamwork, meaning that you need to rope in people of different ideas and all that,
Okay.
and you need to collaborate because you are the bridge between number of people discussing so many things, as a matter of fact.
Yes, yes.
So it boosts,
Uh,
and your openness to communication boosts
mhm.
collaboration and teamwork, as a matter of fact. And your assertiveness comes a lot here. And it enables effective conflict resolution. You should not leave the
Okay.
game in between and run away. You please have to hold on the situation, hold on to that particular problem solving scenario, and you should be in a position to demonstrate your skill of conflict resolution. So your assertive behavior enables effective conflict resolution, as a matter of fact. And when you're doing this job effectively well with your own assertive behavior, roping all the people in, and ensuring collaboration and teamwork, you see that it increases job satisfaction of yours. At the end of the day, you feel justified for your position you're holding, right? So you definitely enjoy job satisfaction, and definitely career growths are there for you, because the higher ups would definitely appreciate your assertive behavior and problem solving approaches, as a matter of fact, and there are n number of chances for your career growth. No, then what is, after all, the assertiveness is okay, fine, but then how to develop assertiveness in a given scenario? Let's try to understand the practical tips. Of course, there can be no straight answers to this, unless otherwise you are presenting yourself and you have to do a situational analysis. But then a trait of assertive behavior and the openness of communication can help a lot here. Let us examine how you are going to develop your assertiveness behavior in decision making, as a matter of fact. First one is practice clear communication. Use I statements. For example, somebody else is saying something which is not understood by you. So, how you respond? There are two responses. Number one, what you are saying is not clear. That's one. Or I can use I statement. I am not in a position to have an understanding. Can you kindly please repeat? So when you use the word you, it is a blame game, like, because I am okay when I am listening, but you are not saying clearly. So let's not do that, so that you can put others in a comfort zone. As a matter of fact, practice clear communication. Use I statements. And second one is learn to say no with all assertiveness without guilt. There is no point in no, what you call guilty consciousness or whatever it is. No, absolutely no. Why should you feel guilt when you're making the point straight, clear, according to organization objectives, common objectives as such? Learn to say no without any guilt. Yes. Maintain body language that matches your message. Yes, that's very, very interesting. See, for example, if you want to say pleasant things or unpleasant things, sometimes your body postures do not match the message you're giving. That is very bad state of affairs. You need to maintain body language like eye contact, postures, and all that, so that other person can get convinced about the message that you are conveying. Very, 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 very important, because people may put face down or do not maintain eye contact when they are, passing on some unpleasant messages or censoring some person's individual behaviors and all that. So please take care of your eye contact and posture without any guilty consciousness, and make the postures very straight. And you need to stay tall, strong, and with the posture and all. And then you need to maintain your body language that matches the message you're sending. Then use empathy to balance assertiveness and compassion. Please note that you're all colleagues, right? You're the team members. Though contextually you are positioned to be the leader, but please note organization is a group of people working together in the process of organizational objectives. You, as a loner, you can't do anything. So you need to have your own team of people to travel with you. So use always empathy. So walk into their shoes just for the time being, to just assess whether what they are saying is right or wrong. Please do not stay at your own gate, and assess the situations. Go with them, try to understand. So that helps you. So this is what we call empathy. Now let us examine the techniques that you can make use of in the process of developing assertiveness behaviors. Here are some studied, proven key techniques that we can think of using. Broken record. You know what is meant by broken record? It is something like calmly repeating your message until it is acknowledged. It does not mean repeating n plus one number of times, but for the sake of clarity or whatever it is, you need to repeat your message until it is acknowledged. It can be yes or no. Acknowledgement can be through yes, or it can be through no also. But then again, discussion should be opened on, isn't it? So you have to have an acknowledgement. Feedback is a must there. So that's what we call a broken record, clearly repeating your message until it is acknowledged by the fellow beings. Fogging is that, yeah, of course, when there is a criticism, sometimes, there can be constructive criticism as well as destructive criticism also. So constructive criticism, yes, it's absolutely a point of feedback. Destructive criticism, yes, you need to cut it down, isn't it? So acknowledging criticism without becoming defensive. Please do not be taking a stance of defensiveness. As a matter of fact, you try to defend yourself many a time. In the eyes of others, you are said to be very weak. So it is acknowledging criticism without becoming defensive. This opens up a dialogue for a constructive criticism, that points to be taken in. Again, you are not supposed to cut at the root of their arguments that are being presented. So that's what we mean by fogging. And then a negative assertion, admitting when you are wrong without losing confidence. Absolutely important. Sometimes, see, it's an unsafe assumption that we are always right all the time. Don't assume yourself like that. Sometimes, yes, you have to admit a mistake. It is not through losing confidence. Negative assertion is that admit politely, admit convincingly. You need not have to bow down your head. There are certain circumstances where which you can't do anything about this, and you failed in that. Nothing wrong in it. Or your awareness to that particular problem, or your what you call knowledge in that particular area of operation may not be that good enough to take a right decision in the process. So admit when you are wrong without losing confidence. Then how it all helps in decision making? The answer is very definitely yes, because the decisions are to be taken with sound knowledge base. Because what we often say today is data based decision making, data driven decision making, as a matter of fact. So decision making process is said to be very, very important. You cannot delay the process of taking decisions. So if you are sure of Assertiveness, as a matter of fact, right? The assertiveness can guide clear, quick, and confident decisions, as a matter of fact, because you need to always try for a conclusive proof when deliberations are going on, discussions are going on, as a matter of fact. So aggressiveness counts a lot in decision making. Otherwise, postponement of things unnecessary will happen. So that's not good enough. Now, of course, your assertiveness maybe sometimes be influenced by certain barriers, and you may not be in a position to say no always, and you may not manage yourself always in some group settings. Sometimes, what are the common barriers that you can experience, and how to combat? First one is fear of rejection or conflict. So what you think is a barrier is a fear of rejection. You will be rejected by others, or there will be some difference of opinion, or somebody else is not agreeable with that. Some people will always be like agree to disagree type of people. So in the process of behaving assertively, you may experience a common barrier like fear of rejection. People may be rejecting you, or a major conflict in the process. So this is a common barrier. You need to understand the clear scenarios, and then combat this rejection or conflict related things. Then another common barrier would be lack of self confidence. See, you are there placed to lead the team. You are paid to lead the team. You are given authority and responsibility to lead the team. So if you suffer a lot, then gone. If you suffer a lot in terms of self confidence, then that's the end of the story. So another common barrier is lack of self confidence. Improve your self confidence, knowledge base, or whatever, and then say strong, straight, and confidently face the scenarios. Then cultural and societal norms. Yes, of course, there are certain cultural influences are there, and there are certain societal norms are there which may restrict you to behave this way, that way, and all that. For example, you mean to say that in a gender related scenarios, I may make a point here that how do you handle male gender and a female gender in the process of discussions? Suppose you belong to a male gender, and you can be you may be in a position to what I can say, craft your conversations to a male gender in a way. But if you are supposed to craft your conversations towards addressing towards female gender, yes, there are certain societal norms coming in the way that how to handle conversations between male to male and male to female or whatever. And if, for example, in international meetings, sorry, when you're handling international teams and all that, then there are certain cultural issues that may come up here in the process of handling. So this is a very interesting aspect to consider, to identify the barriers and try to combat them as far as possible. Then look at uh, uh, negotiations table. In the process of negotiations, I have already told you negotiations can be two. For example, in sales negotiations. In sales negotiations, we were talking earlier, my dear student friends, we have already talked about negotiation skills. I think you understood it clearly, how a person who is in charge of negotiations from the company side should be in a position to be totally assertive in order to close the deal. It can be it can be two scenarios. Number one is you're handling suppliers. Number two is you're handling customers, big customers, whatever. So in the negotiations table, your assertiveness counts a lot. Being assertive in negotiations helps achieve win-win outcomes. You have said no. It is collaboration. It is collaboration, not a compromise. We have already said that. It is collaboration, not a compromise. Compromise means somebody else should cow down before somebody. No, it is a collaborative approach, as a matter of fact. So please be assertive in negotiations. Very, very important here. Please be assertive in negotiations to help achieve win-win outcomes without compromising, as a matter of fact. And this is true in the case of the second type of scenarios in negotiation, like collective bargaining, as a matter of fact, when it is an issue between the managing management and the labor. Say, for example, on wage negotiations, bonus negotiations, incentive negotiations, or whatever, same things happen. So negotiations can have multi-dimensional scenarios, as a matter of fact. So wherever you are, please try to understand the given scenario. Please be collecting all the necessary information, be knowledgeable in the process, so that you can be assertive, because you are taking a position of what you call a decision maker, as a matter of fact. So sometimes you should always be in a position to exhibit, demonstrate assertive behavior. Now let us examine, uh, emotional intelligence has anything to do with assertiveness? The answer is very definitely yes. Let us examine the connection between your assertive behavior and your emotional intelligence coefficient, what we call EQ. Assertiveness definitely aligns with high EQ by balancing self expression with empathy for others. Yes, absolutely. Your emotional coefficient means here, emotional intelligence means that you should be in a position to understand others. Be empathetic. Be empathetic. You can have your self expression, but not at the cost of empathy. It means that you don't bother to listen to them, you don't bother even to understand what others are feeling and thinking and all that. That becomes a problem area here. So your emotional intelligence means your understanding others' emotions is very, very important. So assertiveness aligns with high EQ by balancing self-expression and with empathy for others. Absolutely important. And no, no, one of the interesting tip that I can give you here as a suggestion is assertive communication strengthens emotional intelligence and leadership behaviors. Absolutely important. Always be assertive. Don't cow down. So it definitely strengthens your emotional intelligence. So being assertive is to understand yourself and understand others as such in a given setting, as a matter of fact. The next important aspect that we need to consider here is, we have already said, your body language should align the message you are passing on. This is a very important aspect of it. How do you master your body language in order to demonstrate your assertiveness consulate? If your body language seems to be very provocative in the name of assertiveness, that is very, what you call, what I should say, that it is not agreeable from the team of people when with whom you're working together. So that's very important. See, you can't be arrogant. I mean, arrogance can be either through words or through your body language. Am I clear what I'm saying? So it's a convincing behavior, not only through words, but through your actions as well. So are you in a position to master your body language and the cues that others can understand, your body gestures and all that? So try to maintain direct eye contact. If you don't maintain direct eye contact in the eyes of others, you are not self confident. So that's so simple a thing. Try to understand that. Maintain direct eye contact. You are self confident, knowledgeable. You done a lot of homework in the process of understanding everything. So why do you hesitate to maintain a direct eye contact, to say the point straight and clear? That's it. Stand or sit tall and confident. That's very, very important. It's not demonstration, action, or whatever. It is a, what I call, a honest attempt of standing or sitting tall and confident. Others should understand that yes, this person is reliable. This person is coming out with a crystal clear argument of his own, understandable. Very, very important, as a matter of fact. Then use control gestures. Very, very important. That's why I have been telling you always that you need to master your body language. especially in crafting your conversations. It's not the words you chose that are important. Of course, they are important, but through how you're presenting your verbal, non-verbal gestures also count a lot. A polite behavior of yours comes through gestures only. The word no can be uttered anyway, of course, but then with a smile on your face, that's gentle. Instead of saying no with cut and dry, what do you call, type of a thing that is there. No, that's not accepted. Avoid crossing arms or defensive postures always. When you cross arms like this, it goes without saying that you are not open, because there are certain studies that show, and certain postures and gestures are highly defensive and highly negative towards others, as a matter of fact. So a little study of modulating your body postures and your eye contacts and your gestures, etc., are the need of the hour in order to enjoy crafting conversations with not only verbal communication style, but also non-verbal communication, mastering of non-verbal communication as such. Now, what we have been talking about it is saying no. See, assertiveness behavior means sometimes, not sometimes, but it is very frequent occasions may be there for you to say no to become assertive. Saying no, not for the sake of saying no, it is not demonstrating your hierarchical level or bossism, as a matter of fact. But you need to point out why this cannot work out, or you can also explain why this decision could be taken like this. So when you say no assertively. There is no embarrassment again here. Don't get confused or confusing others whether you are saying no or not. But at the same time, you have to say no assertively. The steps of saying no here is: be polite but firm. I have already told you. Saying no is not hitting on the face of others. It depends upon how your body language gestures also count a lot, and how you choose to present your no as such as a part of a statement. These dry statements may not go good, as a matter of fact, but mix it with some sentimental statements, as a matter of fact, for the common good, whatever. So be polite, but at the same time stay firm. Be polite through your words and body language, but at the same time stay firm. There is no need for you to revise your decision at a point of time. The next one would be: provide a brief explanation if necessary. Yes, it is. That's why I told you. Cut and dry statements won't go good. You should be in a position to clearly explain why you said no. That's interesting, isn't it? So don't go in for cut and dry statements. Then offer alternatives if appropriate. Yes, of course. When there may be some sort of resistance from the people, if you say no and all, yes, it can be put for some more discussion here. Offer alternatives if appropriate. Sometimes, what happens is, it may be a company policy that you also have taken a stand where you cannot revise your decision because of the common good as such. Then there is no need for you to revise your decision. Stay with the decision announced. Or sometimes, before you say no to the points, you may be in a position to offer alternatives if the situation warrants appropriate. Then, I have already told you where sometimes, relationships get strained when when you fail to understand criticism. Because I have already told you just earlier that criticism can be a destructive criticism or a constructive criticism. You should be polite enough in the process of handling disagreements. So, and you're not supposed to take wrong cues of the statement put forward by your colleagues or team members, as a matter of fact. So how do you handle criticism? Sometimes there may be forceful criticisms coming up. Yeah, maybe, but don't get hurt. Don't get initially influenced by their saying no and all that. Don't get hurt, emotionally disturbed, because we said EQ should be good enough for you. So listen actively before responding. So you should be in a position to have a turf of your own to accept criticism, mind it. Don't get unnecessarily hurt. Don't take it to your heart always. Of course, you need to stay firm if you're right, but listen actively before responding. All criticisms are not destructive criticisms, mind it. There can be constructive criticisms as well. There's a point. Others are there will be a point when others are saying something. Please note that way. So listen actively before responding. That helps you to understand their own arguments in a proper perspective. Then, of course, you are free to respond. And then, if there's a friction and there is a conversational conflict and word exchanges, sometimes in agreements, yeah, absolutely, in meetings, being a leader, you should have to have a very calm, composed personality of your own. So respond calmly and thoughtfully for every point raised. I've already told you, don't take it personal. You are a representative of an organization by being a leader. So respond calmly and thoughtfully. Answer all the criticisms coming in, or sometimes constructive, sometimes destructive. Of course, you should have to stand straight and tall. You need not have to come bow down, please note. And destructive criticisms can be handled in a rightful way. A fitting replies can also be given. That can also be a good assertive behavior. And stand by your point of view while considering constructive criticism. Yes, of course. Depends. Of course, you will be weighing, you'll be weighing a lot. Oh, this should happen, that should happen, and all. And as a matter of fact, that can help you to understand clearly. So stand by your own point of view while considering constructive criticisms. Now, in case of conflict resolutions, this is highly alarming situations, as a matter of fact, because arguments and counter arguments take place. Because it's a conflicting situation, right? So, what assertiveness has any role to play in conflict management? Yes, of course. Assertiveness can de-escalate tensions, mind it. See, you are an intervention in the process. Yes, everybody will look to you. So, are you interested to further escalate the tensions and all? No, absolutely no. So, your interventions with assertiveness count a lot here. So, assertiveness can de escalate tensions and find solutions that respect all parties. Yes, everybody will look to you, your own decision making, and your own perspective. So, please note that assertiveness count a lot in conflict management, and it helps you to understand the entire scenario, and you can demonstrate assertiveness, and that can de escalate tensions and find solutions that respect all the parties minded. Then, of course, I've already told you here, if you look at a global perspective, where when you're playing a very important role in a multinational company, whatever, and you are handling international teams, for example, when you're globally connected, right, you have international teams working together across the countries as such. Sometimes the different cultures perceive assertiveness differently. No, adapting assertiveness to various cultural norms, like, so you need to have to understand the body language norms, and the certain words or certain gestures can be decoded differently in global business settings, as a matter of fact. So when you're working with Americans, Japanese, Chinese, or whatever, you need to better understand their behavior modes and all that, and the cultural norms also, to a large extent, as a matter of fact, that can help you as a business leader who can adjust your behavior according to cultural norms set. And of course, on leadership, and you know how to define how you define leadership. Leadership is ability to influence people. Very interesting definition. One simple, powerful statement. You can have multiple definitions on leadership, but I admire on this particular definition of leadership. I'm admired with that kind of a statement. Like, leadership is people related. Your ability to influence people is leadership, not through power, but through relationships. Of course, power counts a lot. Yes, of course, authority and power. But it's not always true because of the fact that people have different perspectives and they are think tanks. They will be in a position to help you through the process of joint decision making. So let's examine the role of assertiveness and importance of assertiveness in exhibiting your leadership qualities in the process of your ability to influence others. Assertive leaders inspire trust, very important. Inspire trust, set clear expectations and goals, and maintain healthy relationships with employees. Please note that there should be no goal ambiguity or role ambiguity. Set very clear expectations so that others can understand what they are supposed to do. And at the same time, you should also inspire trust in them. They must feel that you are taking them in and there's a joint journey together. You must have to inspire trust in them. They must feel, yes, and they should also feel that there is a healthy relationship between you and your leader. That's very, very important. I mean, your employees, I mean to say, yes, you are from the leadership position, as a matter of fact. So the one of the interesting tip here that we can give is that balancing assertiveness with empathy creates a more engaged and motivated team mind. Of course, at the cost of assertiveness, you can't be totally empathetic and all, or at the cost of empathetic behavior, you should not be totally assertive. That means not taking cognizance of people's feelings and all their emotions. What you are going to, go ahead is a discounting factor again. So try to balance assertiveness and empathy together. So let's examine from key learnings from this discussion what we had just now. I think by this time you understood what assertiveness is and its impact. Yes, assertiveness is your ability to say no, but it's very politely, and you should inspire trust in people, and it's a joint decision-making exercise minded, and its impact is quite clear that organizations can travel faster and can understand change management processes clearly, right? Joint decision making and all, but at the same time that you need to be assertive always. And you should also differentiate between assertive and other forms of communication styles like your passive aggressive and all that. Aggressive style one and passive style one and passive aggressive style one. No, you should practice assertiveness communication style, as a matter of fact. No, the I have already told you that with some examples also. And to conclude here, the final thought is assertiveness empowers you to communicate your needs while respecting others. Mind it. See, you are with other people. People are valuable organizational resources. They are think tank. Very valuable organizational resources are human beings. See, for example, you have a lot of resources with you, like physical resources, technical resources, financial resources, and human resources. Don't you think that human resources are said to be very important? Now, when I say they are very important, I'm not discounting, I'm not interested to discount the other resources at your disposal. But human resources are there with you to team up, and there's a joint obligation for all of us to be together. So try to respect others. And at the same time, be willing to be assertive and take the team along with you. Now let's examine a case study here, a documented case study, and a hypothetical thing, of course, we just give here. Mr. John, an employee at a marketing firm who has always struggled with assertiveness. He's unable to say no, always. Maybe is quite a bit embraced and of course, he experiences a lot of things, and he has no ability and willingness to say no. He is not interested to hurt others, as a matter of fact. He often avoided expressing his ideas in team meetings. He wants to be silent. He's not interested to share his own thoughts because he may be snubbed by somebody or whatever. Yes, he is fearing a conflict or a rejection. If he presents a problem, somebody else, if he presents an idea, somebody else will cut down, or it may result in a conflict scenario and all that. He fears a lot because of that. So, because of that kind of a non assertive behavior, John felt undervalued and often overlooked for promotions because he is not a performing leader. Why is not performing leader? His inability to be assertive in the meetings and taking team along with him. So then, should he be like that, avoiding promotions and all that? No. Let's see the transition. First point: self-reflection, and all the performance reports and all that on his table. After receiving feedback from his manager about his lack of visibility in the team, John realized that his passive communication style was hindering his career progression. Mind it. He could get the clues from the manager, and manager's statement is, Mr. John, you lack visibility in the team because you're just a very, very, very weak person, a weak member of the team. You're not in a position to influence your team members. You're so passive in communication. You're not even sharing your powerful ideas, not putting before your points of view powerfully. And sorry, you may not be in a position to be coming up in the ladder, and you may have no fair chances of getting promoted. Now, it's a question of upskilling himself in terms of assertive communication. Yes, here it is. John attended workshops on effective communication and assertiveness. He could understand how to steer the dialogue, conversations. He should understand how to craft the conversations ably in the process of influencing his team members. He learned the importance of expressing his thoughts and feelings clearly while respecting others. That's interesting. In the subsequent team meetings, John began practicing assertiveness. Practicing assertiveness is started by preparing his ideas well in advance and sharing them confidently. Instead of waiting for others to speak, he could ask for the feedback on his proposals, ensuring that his voice was heard. See his proactive behavior after upskilling himself, after understanding the complete scenario, why he is lagging behind. So his process of handling disagreements also is something very interesting. Things came out when disagreements arose over project strategies. John applied assertiveness techniques learned through the workshops. He expressed his concerns directly but respectfully, asking for clarifications and suggesting alternatives rather than remaining silent or resorting to passive aggressive behavior. Now, what's the outcome then? Promotion. Much sought after. Much sought after promotion. His contributions were valued, leading to improved team dynamics. And within 6 months, he received a promotion due to his enhanced leadership capabilities and the positive impact he had on team collaboration. My dear friends, listening to me till now, especially students of management, should clearly understand that you need to master assertive behaviors. Thank you very much for your patient listening, your time and attention. Thanks a lot. Next time we'll meet. Until then, take care. Keep smiling. Thank you. Yes. Now for others too. Go ahead. As a token of closure, please.
So thank you, sir. I think. Hello,
Hello?
am I audible, sir? Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, audible, please. Audible, audible.
Okay, sir. We can stop our live stream, sir.
Okay, okay, I'll stop.